You ever feel like, like somehow life, over time, robbed you of your innocence and the things that were good? You ever think to yourself, I wish I could get back to the simpler times? Or what happened to me? This is what I hope to help you see. As you listen to the album, There Will Be Fire, maybe I can inspire you to get back in touch with everything that's good inside. That's my aspiration. That's my desire, to get you wrapped in. I want to get you wrapped in. Just listen. So the summer is over. The summer is over, and that is clear to see. It's evident. And the current month, is the 7th month. On the pagan Gregorian calendar, it is known as the 9th month, September. Sept, meaning 7th, but the number on that calendar says that the 7th month is the 9th month. It is the 7th month in actuality. And the summer is over. So then what you can expect now is 3 months of fall. And following that, 3 months of winter. And following that, it will again be spring. Now, let's go back. Let's make a regression backwards from where we are to understand where the beginning of spring was.
Okay, before we go back there, I would say, well, now summer is over. And there are 3 months of each season. There's 3 months. Okay, now this varies depending on the world's view of when these seasons start. But the Bible tells you, and the Word tells you, that people won't understand. They don't know, okay, what the seasons are. This is in the Word. That the people won't know when the seasons begin. They won't understand that. Okay? But if you look at the different measures that they use, because there's one measure that is based on like temperature, okay, and then there's other measures of how they determine, okay, according to what their system is, not according to what's written in the Bible, but according to that system, okay, and on average, there's about 90 days in each season, okay, which is a good reflection of the reality, because there are indeed, biblically, okay, there are 3 months in each season. Each season consists of 3 months of 30 days. So, okay, now here we are in the fall. Let's go back 3 months. That would have been 3 months of summer. Okay, we're in the 7th month. So we go 6, 5, 4. So the summer would have began in the 4th month. Okay, so when is that? Okay, well, on that world pagan Gregorian calendar, that would have been what they call the 6th month. In actuality, it is the 4th month. They would have called it the 6th month. And I'm not going to mention the name of that month because, well, it's named after a pagan god. Okay? So now, let's go back some more. We're at the 4th month. Okay? So we go to the 3rd, to the 2nd, to the 1st, because they're 3 months. That will bring us to the beginning of the year. And that 1st month, okay, on that pagan Gregorian calendar would have been what? It would have been, okay, now before we said we're at 6, and we're going to go back 5, 4, 3. We'd be at the 3rd month on that pagan Gregorian calendar. Okay? So now we know when on the pagan calendar, okay, the actual 1st month is. Now this is easy to discern if you think about it, but if you are so committed to living according to the way that the world lives, and that you hold that above what is written in the word of Elohim, because all these different ways that I told you they have, okay, about determining the temperature, the temperature, or agriculturally, what's going on the ground, everything other than the lights that are in the heavens, because that is what is written in the book of Genesis, or Barashyt 1 and 14. It was Elohim that said, let them, the lights, let them be for signs, for days, for years, and for the seasons, or for the appointed times. But if you're so committed to believing everything that man puts in front of you, and you want to keep your head down when it is written, look up, for your redemption is near, but you want to keep your head down and you want to focus on what man puts before you, in this man-made calendar and give complete disregard to what Elohim says, then you will never come to that understanding, because you place what man has said over what Elohim has said. But regardless of you doing so, it is the word of Elohim that will stand. And all of this knowledge of man that you put your trust in, and how you make the Son of Man your strength, all their knowledge will come to an end. So again, the first month, and this was given to Musa, it was told to him, it was given to him, this shall be the first of your months. This should be the first month of your year. Regardless of what everybody else is doing, they call the beginning of the year right in the middle of the winter. That's the beginning of their year. When it's darkest and when it's coldest and when everything is dead. That's the beginning of their year. But this time, when life springs forth anew and everything starts to blossom and to grow, this time, this shall be the first of this will be the first month of your year. This should be the first month of your year. I don't care about what the rest of the world is doing. I don't care what Egypt does and all their focus on the sun. This month should be the beginning of your year. This month will be the beginning of your year. And Musa took heed to what Elohim told him, the direction that Elohim gave him. That's the story that we have. We don't have Musa saying, no, Lord. The beginning of the year, according to Pharaoh, according to the traditions of Mizraim, according to all the gods of Egypt, and when the Nile River, when it flows and when it floods, according to that, the beginning of the year is this, Lord. No, that's not the story we have. What Musa was given, he passed on to the children of Yasharel. What are you doing? What are you following? Whose word are you listening to? Because see, there's always the voice of Elohim throughout your generations telling you, this is my way. Then the messenger was sent to follow and to demonstrate my way. And then go so far as to say, listen, I am the way, the light, the door. Enter in, follow me, walk even as I have walked, in obedience, even unto death. And everybody wants to claim, oh, I love Jesus. I love Jesus. I love Jesus. Jesus is the way. I love Jesus. It's popular now. It's popular to say, I love Jesus. Yeah, I believe in Jesus. Yeah, I believe in Jesus. Okay. Well, how come your actions don't reflect that? How come you don't walk in every way as he walked? How come you're not obedient? Because he was. He was obedient. He followed the law. How come you're You say you believe in him. You say that's your Lord. How come you don't imitate him? How come you say he's God? And the word says, be ye imitators of God. Well, why aren't you imitating him? Why is it that you don't look like him as far as your behavior and your action? How come you're not after his likeness? Because you look like God, because you were created in his image, but you're also supposed to be made after his likeness. Now, when it comes to the Son of Man, it said that he was the express image of God. But even though you look like God, you are not after his likeness. You're not even pursuing being anything like him. You're not pursuing obedience to what he has said. You're not pursuing righteousness according not to what you think is right, but according to what he said. Because it is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of Elohim. But it seems, just like in the garden, Elohim said, it shall be thus and thus, and yet another voice was saying, it shall not certainly be thus and thus. It shall be this way. And so even though Elohim says it will be this way and let it be this way, there's another voice saying, no, let it be this way. And you're listening not to the voice of Elohim, you're listening to the other voice saying the contrary, the very opposite. Something contradictory to what Elohim has said. And you say, well, that sounds like wisdom to me. But the wisdom of this world is foolishness to Elohim. You think that you're wise in your own eyes, and so there is no hope for you. But if you were to humble yourself, in that case, you would come into understanding, and you would be lifted up, and you would be exalted to wisdom. You want knowledge so bad that you're willing to die for it. But knowledge, the kind of knowledge that you're seeking, which is contrary to God, it will not prosper you in the grave. Therefore, what you should do, if you would truly come into understanding, into wisdom, if you would truly be wise, then what you would do is you would take heed to the word of Elohim, because these words that I speak to you are life to you. My word, my law is life to you. And if any knowledge, you should get knowledge. With all thy getting, get understanding. If you're going to have understanding and it be of any profit to you, you got to be alive. You got to be alive if it's going to prosper you. Well, the law is life. And I know there's a whole lot of other voices out here telling you the letter killeth. That is not the word of Elohim. There's another voice saying the law killeth. And the one that's speaking is hard to understand to begin with, but I make it plain for you. The word of Elohim is this: concerning this law, concerning these laws which I give, okay, if a man live by them, okay, basically he shall live. Okay, so these laws, which if a man do, he shall live in them. These laws, which if a man live according to, he shall live in them. I set before you this day life and death. Therefore, choose life. The law is life. To sin is to miss the mark. Well, what is the mark? What is it you should be aiming for? What is the mark that's being missed? When you sin, when you miss the mark, you're off target. And some of you don't even know what the target is. The target is the law, the mark. These are a mark. These shall be for a sign upon you. Your obedience is a sign on you. The Shabbat, my seventh day, which I hallowed and blessed, shall be a sign between you and I. It's like a mark upon you. And when you are missing the mark, that is sin. You're not on target. You're not identified as one of mine. There is no mark upon you. You're missing the mark. And that is to sin, and the wages of sin is death. So you want to know good and evil. Well, death is an evil. Death is a calamity upon you. When you were meant to live, death doesn't even seem natural to you. Why doesn't death seem natural to you? Well, because Elohim has placed eternity in the heart of man. And there is nothing that can fill that which is finite, because everything that you want to fill it with, those things are finite. They are limited. They are passing away. And you're trying to fill an eternal space in your heart with something which is limited, finite, passing away. You're trying to fill it with alcohol. You're trying to fill it by putting something in your veins. And it's all in vain. You're trying to satiate yourself with sex, with lust, with food, with whatever it is you can get your hands on to make you feel good. You're trying to satiate yourself by going shopping. spending money, getting more things, clothing, things that are eaten up by moth. And you're calling that happiness. You're calling that success. You're trying to fill that hole in your heart with material things. Meanwhile, the one that created all material things, everything that you can see, everything that cannot be seen, all of existence, to that one, you give no respect, no honor, you take no heed to his word. But all of his gifts, the breath that you breathe, all of these things that you take advantage of, all these things that you enjoy, your eyesight, you feel with your lust, your breath, you take it, all the gifts that Elohim has given, and you abuse it. You even abuse the name of Elohim. You say,
there is no God.
Remember your Creator in the days of your youth, before the days of trouble come and the years approach, when you will say, I find no pleasure in them. Before the sun and the light and the moon and the stars grow dark and the clouds return after the rain, when the keepers of the house tremble and the strong men stoop, when the grinders cease because they are few, and those looking through the windows grow dim, when the doors to the street are closed and the sound of grinding fades, when people rise up at the sound of birds, but all their songs grow faint, when people are afraid of heights and of dangers in the streets, when the almond tree blossoms and the grasshopper drags itself along and desire no longer is stirred, then people go to their eternal home and mourners go about the streets. Remember him before the silver cord is severed and the golden bowl is broken, before the pitcher is shattered at the spring and the wheel broken at the well, and the dust returns to the ground it came from, and the spirit returns to God who gave it. Meaningless, meaningless, says the teacher. Everything is meaningless. Not only was the teacher wise, but also he imparted knowledge to the people. He pondered and searched out and set in order many proverbs. The teacher searched to find just the right words, and what he wrote was upright and true. The words of the wise are like goads, their collected sayings like firmly embedded nails given by one shepherd. Be warned, my son, of anything in addition to them. Of making many books there is no end, and much study wearies the body.
Now all has been heard. Here is the conclusion of the matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the duty of every human being. For God will bring every deed into judgment, including every hidden thing, whether it is good or evil.